Gentlemen, are you ready for more Big Mac Davis?
Bonesaw is ready.
I love Big Mac Davis. I feel like I have like a parasocial relationship with this guy from like, because he does commentary on all of these too.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm getting to know him, all of his ins and outs.
Do you think he knows anything about us? Are we a blip on his radar?
Dude, my dream is for Big Mac Davis to come on this show. I don't know what he's doing now or if he's even still alive, but Big Mac Davis, if you're out there, please come on the show.
We'll DM. You were going to slide into your DMs, friend.
We should message him, and maybe at the end, as like,
yeah,
I think he would just be mad that we were using his speed.
Yeah, he's gonna have us take it all down.
Takes down everything.
Honestly, his videos get like a fair amount of views. I mean, they were uploaded like 10 years ago. So I don't know how much, of that is like actually making revenue for him, but they get like 64,000 views. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
much better than anything we get.
Welcome back to One Stage at a Time. This is a podcast where we're playing through a video game one stage at a time. And today in the program, we're playing through Doom from 1993. And we have reached episode 2 of Doom, episode 2 of 4. And this is E2M2. That's how it's coded or like labeled in the game. But the title of the level is Deimos Anomaly. So in the lore of the game, we traveled through the Hellgate on Phobos, the other moon of Mars, and we ended up on Deimos, the moon of Mars, which had gone missing from the night sky. And it turns out it's in the Hell dimension. Where else would it be but the Hell dimension? I'm Andy, and joining me are Aaron and Sam. Boys, how you doing tonight?
Doing good.
Feeling fine. Fine and frisky. That's how I'm doing.
Fine and frisky.
Fine and frisky.
Ready for some caco.
Yeah, this one.
Boo Cacodemon.
I'm really feeling E2. That's for sure.
Dude, I am so with you, man. E2 is just like pushing all the endorphin buttons in my brain.
Well, it's, because, E1, right, we talked about before, was free, right? Well, shareware. So you could get it free or cheap, or it was designed to get you interested.
Entice you. First taste is always free, as they say.
They should have put this in there if they wanted me to play the game more. The first level in E2 was like 10, everything about it was just like, oh man, the music fucking slaps in this level, man. I want to listen to this shit in my car when I'm driving to work.
I wrote down, the track is awesome. Real jammer.
Real jammer. It's like, it was one of those songs where I'm like, yeah. And I just like, sometimes you get into that groove with some songs where, you're just blasting away with the shotgun. It was good. I really liked this level. Even though the first time I played it, I had a horrible, I'm not going to call it a glitch, but it made me restart the game.
You rage quit a little bit?
No. It was an audio thing, technically, where you go through and there's that corner. There's a corner. So you go into, there's a lot of, so let's back it up a little bit. I think the fun new feature here, teleportation.
Beep. Backing it up.
Is this good?
Yeah. But
if you're listening, folks, if you're at home listening, we're watching a video of it. So Sam is asking me to rewind the video to a choice part where our host, an unwilling co-host on this show, Big Mac Davis, is going to demonstrate for us how to properly play Doom.
Oh no!
But I'll kind of go in order. I was kind of ahead of myself. But yeah, I would say the cool feature of this level is definitely the teleportation pads. That I think maybe was there. I don't think there was not quite the same thing in the first episode. There was some of the stars would teleport, but this is like a very specific. There's a red square, like a single red square on the ground, and above the same square. Yeah. That indicates that in this game, you stand on this and it takes you somewhere else.
It looks kind of like a Star Trek transporter.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. And it was a couple of things that are weird about it. So you can back into it And like, let's say you go into a room full of pinkies and you're like, oh fuck, and you back up. Be careful going back through it because they know you're there.
They know you're there.
They're gonna fuck you up.
And they can come through it too.
Yes, I was about to say that can happen as well.
Yeah.
So there were teleporters in E1, just not nearly as many. There are 7 separate discrete areas in E2 M1, and so they're not connected. That is to say, in episode 1, most of the areas you could teleport to were connected to each other in other ways through like doors or staircases or what have you. But in this particular level, the 7 separate areas can't be accessed except by teleporter, which makes it kind of unique compared to what's come before.
Yeah, Sam described it as cool. I'm going to say that it got a little tiresome for me. Like, it was cool for a couple times, but after a little bit, you start getting confused. Did I go to that teleporter? Which teleporter is this? Where am I? What? All the teleporters look the same. Where am I going next? And it got a little tiresome for me. I did appreciate that it was a new way to travel and get around the levels and stuff. But when everything just sort of is already kind of confusing, it was a little much for me.
You see,
Sam is clawing his eyes out.
Me and Sam have been conditioned by years of JRPG teleporter mazes, so this is nothing for us.
No, it's not. What happened to me while we were speaking? Again, we're watching Big Mac Davis. I played this level 5 times and could never find the red key, and I just saw how you got the red key, and it makes me want to tear my head off.
Dude, I did the same fucking thing. I was so pissed when I saw it.
There's an area where you go, you come into the first zone. The first thing you see, actually, as you load in the game is a teleporter pad. But if you go right, there are, actually it doesn't matter because you go through the teleport pad, there's kind of like a big arcing, almost like a circle. You kill a bunch of enemies, but then there's just a switch on the wall, and you hit the switch. And I kept thinking this every single time. It just a little wall about up to your knees comes out of the ground, and there's a switch on it. I'm like, I kept thinking, like, why the hell would this little switch come out of nowhere? I didn't understand.
Yeah.
There was a switch on the other side. I never looked on the other side of that little wall, and that's how you get the fucking red key. I swear to, I played this 5 times in a row just to look for the red key and never could find it.
I do the same damn thing, man. This is a rare instance where a key card is not required to finish the stage. There are very few instances of that in this game. But yeah, this red door is just kind of taunting you. And I found the switch, the 2 switches, but I didn't figure out what they do. They lower a section of wall, and there's a little alcove where you can find the red key, which I completely whiffed on. If you do find the red key, it leads to another secret where you can find a blue super armor pickup, as well as the computer map, which is a really trollish item because by the time you found it, you wouldn't need the computer map. You found basically all the secrets already.
I will say, I feel like in playing through E2, they're getting a little more tricky with some of the secrets, and not just secrets, but like the way these levels are laid out. They're a bit more. It's not quite as obvious, I would say. You'll hit a switch and you'll hear chunk, and you'll look around and you don't see anything that's changed, and you're like, "What the hell was that all about?"
Right. I heard a sound, but what did it do?
Backtrack or something, you might find it like a certain item that I spoiled in the last episode.
Yeah.
No one begrudges you that.
Let's get into some statistics for this level. So
yes.
E2M1 is called Deimos Anomaly. The music is titled I Sawed the Demons by our good friend Bobby Prince, another banger. Or what'd you call it, Aaron? A jammer?
A jam? Real jam?
Oh boy, this is a jammer.
It's a real jammer, guys. Check out this jammer.
It's like the kind of song that would play if it weren't, if like people were really playing it, that would be in like a bar room when a big fight broke out.
Yep.
Kind of what I was thinking. I just watched From Dusk Till Dawn again, and I was just thinking about the scene where the shit hits the fan and the vampires show up. Like it'd be like something like that would just start rocking.
There are vampires in that movie?
Spoiler alert! You don't know, 'cause not for the first hour of an hour and a half movie.
Yeah,
It's
for
kinda
real.
cool,
The first
honestly.
hour is just Quentin Tarantino being creepy and Cheech Marin saying the word pussy.
The same, yeah, all the different ways to say pussy. I remember it. We're getting we're derailing right away, but I remember when I first saw that movie, how it was like the first experience of like a sexual deviant kind of like rapist person. And I have a very remember like the feeling of just like not really quite understanding what was going on, but I knew I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, that's the movie that
gave you a foot
makes
fetish?
no, that makes people. I mean, maybe he does, but like I think that's why people always talk like not just because his movies he puts it in there too, but like this is the one. It's where he is totally. He's always looking at feet, and he puts Selma Hayek's feet in his mouth in that movie. So it's like this is probably the thing that kind of nailed that on the head. You know, some feet here and there in his own movies, and literally sucking on feet in that movie.
You think he was like to Robert Rodriguez? He was like, "Can she stick her feet in my mouth? You think she can
like, I'll do
stick her feet in my mouth?"
But only if Selma Hayek's in it, and I suck on her feet. I don't care how it happens.
Ew.
Hey,
But,
we'd all
that's it.
suck on Selma Hayek's feet. There's not a human being on this planet that wouldn't.
Selma Hayek. She'd probably do
QT
her-
is canceled. That's all. You know, we've put up with his chicanery and his perversions for too long in Hollywood. No more. I'm not going to see any more QT movies. I've had it.
and it's here.
Hold on, I didn't finish my statistics. So
We got
yes.
yeah, sorry.
yeah, you guys rudely interrupted for that extended riff about Quentin Tarantino. The designer of this stage, it was begun by Tom Hall and finished by Sandy Peterson. Sandy Peterson did pretty much all of E2. So I believe that's true. Some maps I think were started by Tom Hall but finished by Peterson. I don't think Romero worked on any of the maps for E2, but we'll confirm that for sure as we go along. The par time on this stage, 1:30. I'm starting to think the par time is like a speedrun target and not actually the meaning of the word par.
Yeah, I think maybe that's right. Fucking bullshit is what it is.
We got 54 enemies, at least on the ultraviolence difficulty.
There are.
That's it. Statistics are over.
I didn't play through it on ultraviolence, but I'm watching it right now, and it is. It's a lot. There's a lot of enemies. It feels like more than 54, though.
I'm making the effort to. I did not play E1 on ultraviolent, but I'm playing through E2, and the biggest problem I'm having is running out of ammo.
Yes,
that's a huge problem so far. I did this level okay, but it's I spent a lot of time. You're not going to meet the par because if I'm killing all the enemies, a lot of that's done with the pistol and it takes forever. You got to shoot the imps like it feels like 10 times with the pistol before they go down.
That's so true, man. There were times when I was down to basically just down to my mitts and like was just running past imps trying to find ammo, just anything so I could fucking shoot these guys.
But okay. This was it was a really cool level. It was real short and sweet, you know, not much going on other than the teleporters and a lot of just those big rectangular switches.
I was gonna say, there's a lot going on without a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot kind of packed into a small area. I like how that there's that big round room that's kind of U-shaped, the one with the two switches we were talking about. There's a ton of imps in that room. There's some possessed troopers, some other shit's going on. And then I think there might be a pinky or two in there too. And then you can see from that room, there's like an upper area with like windows that are kind of overlooking the rest of that room, almost as if it's like a control room of some kind. This is like the Deimos Anomaly. So this is like, I guess like the transporter area for the moon of Deimos. And so like, I guess in terms of lore, that's what's going on here. But I like that you see that control room before you can access it. And then you have to find another way to get up there. Yeah, so I kind of like the theming of this level. Also, we are seriously getting into some completely metal satanic imagery. There was a little bit in E1, but we got fucking upside down crosses, rivers of blood, sacrificial.
Is that what that is?
candles.
I mean, I'm guessing it's some kind of like not new, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, the first thing you see, it's like a giant red wall of death that is an upside down crucifix.
Dude, it's so fucking tight. I love
But
it
yeah,
so
I assumed
much.
it was some kind of demon blood, or it definitely, like, the imagery and everything about E2 is like leans a little less away from technology and a little more into like the demon magic. It seems a
Yes.
little bit like, I'm not saying like full blown, but like there's I've been playing through it, not just this episode, but you'll see some little bit of computer stuff and some nukage here and there. But like, I think in this one, it's almost there's no nukage, there's no computers. It's all like, here's some teleporters, here's some interesting new enemies that we'll get into, and not only that, but like if you look at like the first teleporter, it's like part of the ground that's raised up is like a pentagram with like candles on it, technically. And oh, my new favorite switches, which I'll get into, are the skull switches.
Fuck
like
yeah.
for no reason, they're just skulls. The eyes light up red. So the first time you run into those, there's actually a secret. There's two switches and they're right next to each other. One lowers a platform down that if you don't kill the pinkies on ahead of time becomes a huge problem. It's like 5 or 6 pinkies come down and go after you as soon as you lower it. But my point is, the secret room, if you hit the button and you don't go in, the door will go back down and you can't go in there. You can only go in there the first time you open it. So what happened when I played the game the first time, I hit that, didn't go in, but I got chased by pinkies and I went in and ran out. And 2 pinkies got stuck in that room when the wall came down and were just making horrible pinky sounds as loud as they could. And I couldn't get in there to fight them. So eventually, because I was still trying to figure out the level, I just restarted because it was like an ungodly sound. Like, it was just like these freaking out pinkies stuck in a room they couldn't get out of. Knowing,
hey, can you pinkies keep it down? I'm trying to listen to songs on my iPod.
So you got like sound like audio warfare to quit the level, to make you rage quit, like like Chinese water torture, but to your ears, both pinky sounds until you quit.
Like, I wasn't that far in. I was like, we're just gonna start this again.
This is a little much, guys.
I was really confused because I didn't understand really what happened, because I didn't realize that door wouldn't go back up, and like I thought it was some kind of teleport thing. So I kept going through old teleporters. Because the first time I did it, I was kind of turned around a little bit. But yeah, be careful.
It's like this game has a bunch of this, and I've noticed it. It's like in modern RPGs, like action RPGs, when you want to sleep, and it says you cannot sleep while enemies are around. And you're like, where are the enemies? Where the fuck are they? But in this game, it's like you're just hanging out in a room and there's nothing attacking you. Everything's chill, but you hear pinkies going, or imps going, or whatever sound they make. And you're like, where the fuck are they? They're behind this wall. Like, no, they are.
Sometimes I'll hear like the sound of a door opening. And I always have to stop, and I'm like looking around, but like, I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. You get
what's going to come out behind me?
Your spidey sense is tingling.
Yeah.
It's did you guys ever see Sicario?
No.
Film. So the guy that plays the main character in Burn Notice is in Sicario. I forget the actor's name, but he's a pretty good actor.
Michael Weston is the character. I don't know the.
Thank you.
Well, it's not the actor's name.
It's not the actor's name. Thank you for the character name.
It's not Bruce Campbell.
It's not Bruce Campbell, but he plays a minor character in Sicario who's like a CIA operative. There's a part where they're on the highway between Mexico and the United States, and they're pretty sure they're going to get ambushed. And he looks over and they see this car just full of people that are obviously Mexican gangsters. And he says, "I'm getting a hard on."
I never saw either of them, but just the trailer for the second one makes me laugh every time I see it, because it's like literally like a right-wing nightmare. It's like, what if illegals were also jihadists?
Yeah, dude, no.
And it's like a guy running up and like suicide bombing the wall. like
Yeah.
the wall into the United States.
The plot of the second one is that they believe that jihadis took a boat to Mexico and then illegally crossed the Mexican border to get to America.
They took a boat to Mexico from where?
From like
from
Africa.
Muslim town.
I'm just imagining them in like a little paddle boat, like a little rowboat.
But
And,
spoilers.
it's like Stalin's like selling them the boat. Some
They took a silent nuclear submarine to Mexico.
It's a good Soviet boat. It make very good time.
But I've not seen it. But it's just like the first one's so like serious and like
the first one's incredible.
dark, and like the director's really good director and all this stuff. And then the next one's like, what the fuck is this? It's like this has got to be a joke. Like this is the most hilarious like garbage plot I've ever heard of in my life.
I will say that the second one is actually pretty good too. That same actor is in it as well as Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro. They all reprise their roles. And the thing about the jihadis sneaking across the border, the spoilers, it later turns out that that's not true. Like
they're just regular Mexicans sneaking in.
They like use that as an excuse to get authorization to like go do more Sicario type shit in Mexico. And then later they find out, they're like, oopsie, that wasn't actually true.
So Michael Weston was the bad guy all along.
No, man, he's the hero of the piece.
He spends 90% of the first movie and 100% of the second movie with a rock hard boner.
He took too many blue chews.
But Doom.
I used to be a spy. Then I took way too many blue chews.
Now
Should we shoot them, Michael?
Oh, Fiona. Oh. She's so skinny. Oh my gosh.
She's super skinny.
She's so skinny.
Tudors.
I love it.
I've been rewatching The Tudors a little bit. She plays King Henry's sister on that show.
Yeah.
Very true. She hooks up with Superman. What's Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill?
Yeah. The very same.
He would break her in half. She's as thick as I am.
Dude, a strong, she's like Callista Flockhart. A strong gust of wind would blow her away. If she turns sideways, you can't see her. All right.
So fine. Love her.
I agree. Concur. Yeah. I can't think of her name, but yes, very fine.
Not as fine as Sam Axe, but
or Sam Ingersoll for that matter.
Damn right.
Oh yeah.
Damn right.
Okay. Back to Doom. There were a couple of new things on this stage that I wanted to point out. We've got a brand new enemy, the Cacodemon, who folks,
Cacodemon.
He's a thing of beauty. He's a giant floating like eyeball tomato thing, bright red, big blue mouth, one giant eye, spikes everywhere, fires energy at you. He can float up and down and side to side. Straight out of your nightmares and right into our hearts. It's
literally so far, straight out of my nightmares.
The best death animation out of any of the enemies.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yes.
Big time.
It's a thing to behold. It is gory and it happens. It's so visceral, just like how everything explodes out of his face because he's so big. He's just one giant face. You like the details amazing.
I used this analogy once already, but it's even more appropriate here. It looks like an overripe beefsteak tomato that you just threw at the ground.
Yeah, but it's blue on the inside for some reason.
And that makes it even better because he's all red on the outside. He's like hot bloody red on the outside. And then this blue goo just explodes out of his face. It's amazing.
Eye comes out of his socket and just kind of rolls down and there's a real good sound to it. And so far, my favorite enemy, just because it's really easy to dodge. It's really easy to dodge when it's just him. I'll say that.
Yes. As with many of the him and the Pinkies, they're much more, especially when they're by themselves, their intimidation factor is impressive when you first meet them. But by themselves, as with most enemies, not that big of a deal, especially when they're by themselves and you got room to maneuver. But they do take some punishment. They take a lot of shotgun blasts. What is it, 6 shotgun blasts?
Yeah, depends on how many. Like straight to the dome, 6 is probably going to do you. But if you're kind of winging them, it could be more like 10. It just kind of depends. Big Mac Davis gets it perfectly every time, though.
He's a pro. He is a
He's
pro.
playing with mouse and keyboard, I think, so it's probably a little bit. If you're an expert player, your aiming's going to be more precise with the mouse.
Once you get used to the fact that I've mentioned before that pushing the mouse forward and backward moves you, it's really nice. There's been I've kind of gotten to a flow. Like I play a lot of first-person shooters on my computer, a lot of Overwatch, things like that. So once I kind of switch gears to Doom, it really I really like it on Doom on mouse and keyboard a lot.
Nice.
I've been playing with the controller, and the dual sticks is nice, but you can tell it wasn't exactly designed around that. Some of the things Big Mac Davis pulls off, I'm like, how the hell, how is this possible? He's just like perfectly strafing around these guys, getting headshots every time.
Mm-hmm.
I must be wrong.
Yeah, I love the feel of the dual sticks in my hands. Like on most games, it just feels so good. But so like seeing people play with the mouse and keyboard, like, and what they're able to do is very cool. But like, I just am not. I just haven't taken to it yet. I also haven't played a lot with it. I'm sure once I got used to it, I'd be like, this is fucking sick. Yes. How do I ever play with dual sticks?
The way I explain it is, for aiming, it's the difference between this many muscles or this many muscles. So if it comes down to fine movements and accuracy, and it takes some time.
And with a mouse and keyboard, you can like fine tune it a lot to how you really, really want to play it, and you can adjust the sensitivity on the joysticks, however much you can. But at a certain point, you have like this much room to play with.
Yeah, I actually have a whole my mouse. I got a fancy mouse. I'm not going to pull it up, but it's got 3 pages of that you can flip through for settings, and I've got one for everyday use and one that's a lot lower sensitivity, or what they call DPI, which is basically how many how smooth the mouse actually moves. This is really nerdy stuff when you play a lot of first person shooters. But I have a lower DPI for when I'm playing first person shooters and like a higher sensitivity. It basically makes it smoother. So but I have to make sure that I turn it back, because it takes like a full arms movement to get it halfway across the screen, instead of like just moving my wrist to get it all the way across the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I'm playing Doom, I basically can move my whole arm to get finer aiming, if that makes sense. So, So it's weird at first, but I've been doing it for so long now that I am the opposite. Like I cannot play I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much on a controller playing this game.
Yeah.
It's like on Death Clock when they wanted the guitarist to play slower and they couldn't do it. They could only play fast.
Grandpa's guitars.
They made him hang weights off their arms so that they would play slower.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. But it's definitely, I wouldn't say a learning curve, because it's not really that exactly, but it's more like just getting used to it, because you're using, instead of using, I don't know many.
There's an adjustment period.
Yeah, instead of doing this, the 4 fingers, some maybe 6 if you're doing something real crazy. You got it. I'm using all 5 of my fingers. Shift, running, jumping. We don't jump in this game, but
it's the ladies know that Sam uses all 5 of his fingers.
In other games too, I've got 12 buttons on the side of my mouse. See right here? Every light is a different button that I assign to, like in other games.
I can't see that.
Yeah, don't worry. Let's just move on. Edit this out of it. We got way off track here.
So there is another very important new thing that we haven't talked about yet. A special new weapon appearing on this stage. If you're playing on the ultraviolence difficulty, there's a little vault type area you might encounter full of enemies that also has your first Cacodemon. All right, so you walk in there and you're like, oh fuck, oh geez, oh mommy, all these new enemies. The Cacodemon is spitting fire at your face, but then in the corner you spy a brand new weapon, the plasma rifle. And once you get that bad boy, you can just fucking spray plasma energy all over the screen and just wipe out all these bastards.
Did you say only on a certain difficulty?
No, the
I think it's in there.
Cacodemon appears on Ultraviolence in that room.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I
Plasma
thought you
rifle's
said
there
that
no matter what.
that's the only way to get to that room, being an ultraviolence. I was like, I got there.
I died 3 times in that room, all the same way, where I hesitated and got surrounded by a Cacodemon and 2 pinkies, and they just bear baited butt fucked me, and I couldn't move. I was just like forward, backwards, left, right, couldn't move. Died 3 times doing that.
You put in the Konami code trying to get out of their way.
So I just had to,
Up,
the
down,
trick
down.
is just to rush to that gun, and it feels so good to use.
It's such a fun gun. It uses your ammo so quick, but it's so fun.
Yeah, it fires like 1,000,000 rounds a second.
Yeah.
And it's the first the damage isn't like this. Just trying to explain kind of how it feels. It feels like a toned down damage wise with no explosion, automatic rocket launcher, because the way the projectiles move aren't like hit scan like the shotgun, but you can kind of aim it and move, and it'll like, if you start strafing running to the right while firing, you'll the line of the orbs that it shoots out will kind of go with you. So it takes a little bit more finesse and aiming to kind of to hit with it, but the projectiles are ginormous, so it's kind of easy at the same time.
Yeah, shoots like the chain gun, but the projectiles move more like the rocket.
Yes. It probably even has a faster rate of fire than the chain gun, maybe, or comparable at least. But yeah, it's a projectile that follows a trajectory, but it's still semi-homing, as with all the weapons in this game. So it's a lot of fun to operate this gun.
Yes. Yes.
It feels good.
It was so cool. I had so much fun just unloading it. I ran out of ammo so fast I couldn't use it anymore, but it was so much fun while I had it.
Big Mac Davis is kind of stingy with it. He like saves all the ammo. I was like, no, fuck that. Fire away, baby. Just eat these guys.
It's a gun that's almost mandatory to go when you shoot it, because it goes like it makes a really good sound, like a really sci-fi. You're like.
By the way, it's Jeffrey Donovan played Michael Weston, and Gabrielle Anwar played Fiona.
Yes.
She looks like if like a bunch of like 8-year-olds made their own woman. like she's so skinny and like it's like a broom with like a helmet on it wobbling around, you know. She's so skinny. It's
and
like,
she never wears a bra.
Why would she need to? It's just ribs.
The sexiest ribs. My goodness. Man.
All right.
Like, I've watched every single season of Burn Notice, every single damn episode, and I own the Sam Axe standalone movie, and I'm still looking at this and being reminded of all the, like, of everything.
It's
like,
so
I forgot.
I know, I'm like, I forgot about that character.
Yeah.
Oh,
I forgot
guy.
more about this show than I'll know about any other show.
I hadn't thought about Burn Notice since I lived with you guys and you were watching it.
Yeah.
Until Wednesday, there was a video on Reddit that was like a 16-minute video on why it was such a good show. And
it was a good show.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing, and it's just like, it's weird how it just like, here we are again,
just
2 days
melts
later.
away.
Now, the only thing I'll say about Burn Notice is there's like 5,000 episodes of it. And like the middle of a lot of the seasons get kind of slow. And there's like episodes where it's just like, okay, let's just get this one over with and get on to the next one. But like the good episodes are so good. And the ones that kind of move the overarching plot along are really good.
Yeah, that's basically what the guy said. And he kept saying, like, I know I'll get a lot of hate for this, but he said it's better than 24 is what he kept saying.
That's
1,000,000% true. That's
is that even a question? Jesus, I would take any episode. No, I would watch the entire run of Burn Notice 8 times in a row before I watched another goddamn episode of 24.
I haven't watched a lot of either of these, Burn Notice and the other show I'm going to mention, but I feel like Burn Notice is kind of like the spy version of Justified. It feels kind of, it reminds me of Justified a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I'll give it that.
It's kind of funny, but it's got like this man's journey for whatever the fuck. I don't know what it is, and I know it's Revenge technically and Burn Notice, but I haven't seen enough of Justified.
It's really complicated.
Dude, Justified is I get it, what you're saying isn't wrong, but Justified is very different also.
It's like the
really
taste, you know?
Really good. Justified is much more like, so Burn Notice is about Michael Weston trying to like figure out who burned him and get back into the spy game or stop being burned so that he could.
At first, that's what it's about.
At first,
but
it gets a little more.
It changes a lot.
It changes a lot, yes. But
like the two shows would live
Justified,
in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're both like semi-procedurals with an overarching story about lawmen, quote unquote. But Justified is a lot more. Justified is a lot more about the main character and his relation to his hometown, and particularly the antagonist, Bo. And because they're childhood friends and they dug coal together, but like one turned into a lawman, one turned into a criminal, and the show really revolves around their dynamic, and it's fucking great.
So I just thought so since we keep getting on these tangents, when are we doing one episode at a time?
I mean,
well, there's so many shows like that already exist, but I'm not sure if anyone's ever done it for Burn Notice. So maybe that'll be our next project together.
I 100% guarantee that there is a Burn Notice podcast out there. 100%.
I'm loving this Jared Burns guy. His picture's killing me.
Yeah,
but
no, seriously, he doesn't look right. I know what this guy looks like on the show, and seeing this picture, I'm like, what the fuck happened to his face?
That's exactly what he looks like, though. What are you talking about?
I don't know. His face doesn't look right.
He looks like a bad guy.
He doesn't look right on on any show either. He's a regular on Justified.
I know what he fucking looks like.
And he looks like that.
No, I'm saying this picture of him doesn't look like what he usually looks like.
A bad guy from the early 1990s Flash TV show.
He probably was.
Yes.
It's like, so, you know what I'm talking about? Like
the one that they made that pilot for?
They made a whole season of it. There's a whole season.
They made a whole season of Flash.
Okay. I've only seen the pilot.
Andy might be thinking of the Justice League pilot.
They also did a Captain America show.
That's Marvel, dude. Come on.
No. I mean, they did. I know, but I'm just saying they did one around the same time that was like a one-off pilot of just Captain America.
Have you seen the Captain America movie from the 90s?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. It's like where it reminds me of like a Taken 2, where like the actor's like maybe a little too old to be doing this movie.
Yeah.
That's the one where he keeps stealing civilian cars, right?
Yeah.
He keeps pretending to be sick, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And then he runs and steals their car. 2 times it happens in that movie.
We're gonna have to start.
Anyways,
we're already like 20 minutes into this.
We've been recording this whole time too. That's staying in the episode.
This is all going in. Okay, I believe that
we were discussing the plasma cannon.
Yeah, Sam, you were talking a little bit, expounding on something, the joys of the plasma cannon.
Yeah, the fact that so there's like this interesting. It's not a reload because there's no reloading this game, but you can hold the button down, I believe, indefinitely till you're out of ammo. But if you let go of it, it kind of like, I don't know. I guess he kind of holds it up like it's cooling off, or think of an animation from a current, generic trope from a current shooter where like you shoot a big gun and it's got to cool off or something. It almost feels like that kind of motion, but it doesn't really do anything but it kind of keeps you from stopping firing.
Yeah.
If it was a modern game, maybe there'd be like something venting out of the sides or something.
Yes, I feel like it's that kind of idea, but maybe they just didn't have the time to put in some steam, and they're like, you know what? That's too many pixels. We can't afford those extra pixels.
I mean, every time you shoot the shotgun, it recoils. It does a thing,
Yeah, and you see
many people are like, you're pumping it, but
he's got a
Romero was like, I really want there to be steam shooting out of the plasma cannon, and Carmack was like, nope, can't afford it. Sorry, John.
Wait, who's the guy that we keep making?
It's either that or we cut E3.
Who is the guy we keep making fun of?
Tom Hall is the one we make fun of.
It was Tom Hall's idea, and that was when they fired him.
He was like,
out of here.
He was like, he issued an ultimatum. He was like, guys, if we can't have steam coming out of this plasma cannon, I walk. And he thought that like he had so much clout that they would go for it, but they were like, nope.
Bye, Felicia.
It was like Steve Whitmire with Kermit. He thought they would like give in. They were like, nope, you're fired. See ya.
It's like they're in a boardroom and he's outside of it saying that, and they just shut the door on him. But and then the very last thing I'll say is that I was not expecting in the hardcore. What's the hardest difficulty called again? Nightmare. You they're like when you leave this level. You go in and there's just a wall. I was like, what's this? And you kind of hump the wall, and there's a fucking God, I'm so bad with names. The eyeball guy is like right there.
Cacodemon.
Yeah.
Cacodemon.
Bukaku.
I like Bukako. Y'all remember that one?
Oh, I do.
It's ringing some bells.
Right after that Cacodemon, there's the exit door. I don't know if it's like this on Hurt Me Plenty, Aaron, but on Ultraviolence, when you open the door to the exit, there's an imp right behind it, and then the switch is in there to exit the stage, actually. But like Big Mac Davis knows he's coming, so like as soon as the door opens, he just blasts the imp right in the face with the shotgun.
It's a reflex. I did the same thing. The difference is in Hurt Me Plenty, there's no Cacodemon there.
Yeah, the Cacodemon's not there ahead of time.
Well, it reminded me of a scene in Boardwalk Empire where that same thing happens. Like a guy goes to someone's front door and like knocks on the door, and when the dude answers it, he just blows him away with a shotgun.
Really good show. I would go ahead and say that's an underrated show, even though it had 5 seasons.
I heard that it went downhill.
The first 3 seasons are great. After that, it really goes downhill, in my opinion.
Shame.
But still worth watching. But this all in all, the Deimos Anomaly was a fucking cool level.
It was a fucking cool level. I liked it. It was hard. It was a nice It was a nice step up in difficulty, I think.
Yeah, it was hard, but it didn't feel dumb or unfair. There was some good enemy placement. There's a lot of them, and it can be overwhelming, but it never feels like unfair. It's like a fun, thrilling kind of excitement.
I enjoyed this level more than I enjoyed any of the other levels in episode 1.
I'm almost inclined to agree. There's a couple that I really like in episode 1. But yeah, episode 2 off to a fantastic start with Deimos Anomaly.
It helps a lot that there's so many demons. There's so many like monsters to kill and new exciting ones like the Cacodemon. It's fucking cool. And like the mystical stuff makes it a lot of fun. And it's like you're in Wolfenstein. Like the aesthetic is so cool. Like it's got this big old gray bricks everywhere, giant stone walls and ceilings and pentagrams with teleporters in the middle and monsters and blood rivers. It's fucking cool. It's cool. I like it.
Just about everything in this level is new and different enough that it's constant. Oh, what's this? Oh, hey.
Skull switches. Fucking cool.
Yeah, skull switches, giant upside down crosses that hurt you if you touch them, new enemies, new guns, teleportation. All in all, just like a whole bunch of new crap to have fun with in this game.
It's just purely satisfying. Every inch of it is enjoyable to experience.
Mm-hmm. New enemies and new ways to kill them.
Well, fellas, what do you say we wrap it up for Deimos Anomaly? We are moving on now to E2M2. That is entitled Containment Area. And we will be back for you listeners at home. We'll be back very soon in your podcast feeds. Look out for that one in about a week's time. In the meantime, Sam, thank you for joining us. Aaron, thank you for joining me. And Aaron, what do you want to say to the folks at home before we sign off today?
I want to say thank you, everybody, for listening. Go to onestageatatime.com for all of your One Stage podcast needs. You can find our socials, and you can send us a message if you want. Let us know what you think about the podcast and about the game and everything. And we really appreciate you guys listening. I just noticed something, if I may, really quick before we leave. The Cacodemons have buttholes. I just saw that.
Really?
They have buttholes.
Even more to like.
Well, even more to like. They totally
have it up here.
They totally have buttholes. When they shoot, like, back it up a little more. Where is it? It's there. I swear it's there. I just saw it. but
you usually can't see enemies from behind because they're 2D, they're not 3D models, and they just
and they're almost
turn to
always
face
facing you.
Yeah.
But anyways, they're there. Anyway, onestageatatime.com. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Everyone, please do yourselves a favor. Save and continue.